Hey y'all, it's Kirsten and welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year! As the new year has just started, there are many of us who are wanting to try out new hobbies or activities to start the year out great. With reading being a popular choice, I thought that y'all might like it if I share some of my favorite books of 2025 with y'all. These are perfect to help you start getting into reading, or are perfect if you just want a new book recommendation to read and enjoy. Before we get started with the video, let's make a matcha. Starting off, we have the romantasy books. Now, 2025 was a bit of a weird year for me, as I typically don't enjoy or read romantasy books, but there were just so many good ones that I enjoyed reading last year, so I've compiled a few that I thought that you guys might like. So starting off, we have the book Light Lark by Alex Astor. I feel as if this book is very similar to the next book that I'm going to show y'all. But anyway, according to the synopsis, it says, "Welcome to Centennial. Every 100 years, the island of Light Lark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die." So a really interesting part of this book is, as adventurous as it is, there are many obstacles that the main character, Isla Crown, faces. First off, with her being one of the rulers of the realms, she's the ruler of the wildling realm. So essentially it is a realm that controls all of wildlife and everything having to do with nature, flowers, yada yada yada. The obstacle that she faces is she was born with no power. So how is she going to survive? Well, good thing she has many different abilities of hers that she can do, which may not sound good, but as you further read it, you'll get it and see how it contributes to the story and helps to build it. I really loved the world building in this one, as it kind of reminds me of like fairies and elves combined, as there are rulers with different powers corresponding to the moon, the stars, to the sun. But in addition to that, Isla is in a love triangle with 2 of the rulers, and this is another important obstacle in the game, as the main goal is to kill off a ruler. She must decide which one to kill. It's just a really great book to read, and I would highly recommend it. Next off, we have the most amazing book series of all time. It's the Caraval book series, and yes, it's a book series that you will never ever get me to shut up about. Which is so weird. As I said, I normally don't like romantasy books, but one that I particularly enjoyed was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. So before reading this and getting into it, I thought that it was gonna kind of be like Heartless by Marissa Meyer, a spin-off on Alice in Wonderland, but it turns out I got the 2 books confused, as Heartless is like a direct Alice in Wonderland connection, so they're connected to each other. But with Caraval, it's not really like Alice in Wonderland. Like, you can see like some similarities between the books, but you can tell that this book wasn't really inspired off it. But other than that, it is really great. One thing that I really loved is that it combines like a circusy vibe with a romantic love interest for our main character, Scarlet, sisterly love, and a bunch of power and reality mixed with lying and illusions, and it gets overall really confusing and hectic in the book, but in a good way. So all of these obstacles compile together nicely, and it just makes for a really great world building book. So if you want to continue reading this series, and if you really love this book, the next book in this series is Legendary, and it is about her sister. And then The last book in the series is Finale, and it's about the both of them and their continuing stories having to do with Caraval. Another series, or duology I should say, that I really enjoyed this year was the Divine Rivals book series by Rebecca Ross. So this book has anything and everything for any reader. It has magical elements, some sort of sci-fi elements, it has romantasy, it has historical fiction. It's basically all compiled into one book. Now, thinking of that, you might think that it's too much in one book, but it's actually pretty good as it compiles everything together nicely. I know I've been saying compiles together nicely for a lot of these books, but I think that's what you really want in a book. You want everything to flow together really well. But essentially, according to this synopsis, it says, after centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again. But 18-year-old Iris Winnow wants to hold her family together. Her mother is suffering from addiction and her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe drawer, where they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of the battle for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. So essentially this book is an enemies to lovers historical romance that combines elements of either World War I or World War II. But it's really cool as her brother is sent off to the army, and like it said, her mother has an addiction, so she is essentially trying to send letters to her brother through his door she believes it will go through, as they have been mysteriously disappearing. But what she doesn't know is, yes, it lands into the hands of her rival, and I think you can kind of guess at what will happen from there, but it's really good. And the second book that we have in this duology is Ruthless Vows, which corresponds to the very big cliffhanger left in Divine Rivals. That's all I have for my romantasy books, but I hope that y'all would read some of them. They're really good. Now for the culprit of my most read book genre. It's the romance genre, and it's just my favorite type of book genre ever, as it's just so fun to read about the characters and their chemistry. Oh, it's just so good. Anyway, starting off, we have the book Better Than the Movies by Lane Painter. This is my favorite book ever, next to the first book of the Caraval book series. But this book follows this girl who lost her mother when she was very young. With these books, what I notice in a lot of YA romance books is that it always has a mother or a parent that dies for some reason in these books, which I just find so sad. Like, why? But I guess it's just like an emotional building thingy. Anyway, so as this girl's mother died when she was young, an activity that these two would do together is they'd watch rom-coms. So now that Liz's mother is gone, that's the name of the main character. Now that her mother is gone, she has these rom-coms that she likes to watch whenever she's feeling sad or down, as it brings her back memories of her mother. Now this has unintentionally forged her expectations of her love life, leading her to never date. So suddenly, when her former childhood crush Michael comes back, she wants to be with him, as she has loved him ever since she was young. So then she gets the help of her annoying neighbor, which she just finds as a nuisance, is not particularly like. They kind of hate each other. So then as they work together to get her Michael to ask her to the prom, as that's her goal, they form an unexpected connection, and you'll just have to read to find out what happens. It's just really, really good. And then another book that is also really good is Picking Daisies on Sunday by Liana Sincotti. So I think it's very similar to Better Than the Movies. That's also what a lot of people say, but not quite. I mean, yes, there is the thing of the main character loving rom-coms. With this girl over here, she watches rom-com movies, and Liz in the other book, she also watches rom-com movies. But over here, and instead of the two main love interests being enemies, they are actually really good friends who slowly fall for each other. Another cool thing is that I think some part of this book took part in France. I don't really remember, as this is a book I just read a couple months ago, but it's also really good. It involves fake dating and mistakes and second chances. Overall, also really good. And then another book that I really enjoyed was To All the Boys I Loved Before. Now, this isn't a book I read in 2025. It's actually a book that I read in 2023, but I love it so much that I had to include it in this video. But basically, it follows this girl, Laura Jean, who again lost her mother, and it just follows a theme of characters losing their parents in these YA books. But anyway, this is a girl, Laura Jean. She has written love letters to all the boys that she's loved before, hence the title, To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And as she writes them, those letters, she keeps them in a hat box, and her being silly, she addresses them, thinking that they're not going to be sent. But unfortunately for her, they accidentally do get sent. Okay, well, not accidentally. They do get sent by her younger sister, who got mad at her, and unfortunately, all the boys have got the letters. So then you can guess what happens next. She connects with some of them. Some of them have forgotten about it. Some of them she doesn't really care for. But overall, really great read if you are starting to get into romance and would love to read a book like this. Next up, and finally for our romance books, we have The Summer Broken Rules by Kale Walter. This book is a summer romance book, so I think it's perfect for the summer vibes. It essentially takes place in Martha's Vineyard, where there's this girl, she's going to her cousin's wedding, but then it's really sad because her sister has unfortunately died. The main character's sister, not the cousin's sister. And as this girl, she lost her sister, she is faced with many obstacles and sad memories as she explores the childhood area of Martha's Vineyard where they all grew up on. So along the way, she meets this cute groomsman at her cousin's wedding, and things happen from there. They have a lot of chemistry, and it's really nice to read, and it's so fun and is perfect to read during the summer. Finally, out of my favorite books of 2025, we have the thriller books. Now, thrillers have always been one of my favorite books to read, as ever since I was little, I'd read murder mysteries and just regular mysteries, and it was overall really fun. So when I heard of the Inheritance games, I thought that this would be so fun for me to read. But it essentially is a book about this girl who came from nothing. She lives in her car with her sister, so they're really poor. But then suddenly, for some reason, she gets the inheritance of a rich old man who died that she's never ever met. So this leads to a competition filled with obstacles as she is fighting to get that inheritance, as his grandsons, the grandsons of the guy who just died, are trying to figure out why of all people would their grandpa drop off his big fortune to this girl that they've never ever met. So it's filled with twists, turns, a little subplot of a romance, but overall really great if you love that type of stuff. It's very eventful and it's very fast paced. So if you're in a reading slump, I think this would be perfect to get you out of that, or would be a great first read as it's really fast paced and makes you want to keep reading, and overall it was really hard for me to put down. And along with the Inheritance games, it comes with 2 books. This is the second one and this is the third one. So basically they pick up from the first book, as there is also a cliffhanger. And if you really enjoy this first book, I think you'll enjoy these 2 as well. In addition to those, we have the reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. So basically with this book, It has this girl, her name is Belle, and she's lived all her life without her mother, as when she was really little, or when she was just a baby, her mom disappeared, and no one knows why. It's a thing that's circulating media outlets as no one knows why, and everybody's trying to solve the mystery. So that leads to many detectives coming to her house, many interviewers and reporters coming to her house, which is overall really overwhelming as they are trying to go to Belle, who doesn't even remember her mother, as her mother disappeared when she was a baby. But then something really weird happens. Her mom, hence the title, the appearance of Rachel Price, her mom, Rachel Price, appears. So this leads to many dark secrets and lies that may have happened. And Belle really wants to figure out if her mom is lying, why she disappeared, and if her mom was kidnapped like she claims. Thanks so much for watching my video. I really enjoyed putting this video together. I hope y'all's year is filled with reading and that you guys find a couple of new favorites from the book video that I've shared today. I hope that these books help you get into reading or help you find a book if you are looking for a new book to read. Overall, thank you again so much. Happy reading!